Good morning, it's Barbara. It is a bright and sunny day, but it's chilly and I'm inside. Good morning, it's Barbara. I'm kind of in the sun. Thank you for joining me for coffee. That's how it is. I'm glad to be in the sun, don't get me wrong. Cheers. This is actually my second cup of coffee. This is my second day in a row. I got up early for me. And yeah, a little after 8. So I've been reading my phone and, you know, waking up, and I had a cup of coffee and just took Dennis's tea, and we gave Aura her coffee and her pills, and so everyone else is upstairs having a relaxing morning, and I'm talking to you. So I went to the yarn shop yesterday and I bought, well, I picked up the 2 skeins that I had already paid for of the Dolly Maxi, which will be the main color of my Sylvester. Oh, excuse me. The dog saw something out behind the fence. They're running. That's cute. And then I got 2 more, and I ended up buying an extra one because, you know, I just don't want to run out. And I got 2 more of the Kids Silk Haze, and they exchanged my Chagu cable, which was very kind of them. So that got taken care of. I did look around some more because, you know, and I found, actually, I found some yarn by Mad Dye Yarns, Kelly, that I really liked, but they were $32 a skein, so it would have been $64 to use that as my alternate color. But it just felt like way too much because I've already spent over $100 on the main color. It just felt like a lot. So I didn't buy it. But I haven't figured out my alternate color yet, and so I can't really move forward. I picked a yarn. Oh, I found my twists and turns yesterday, and I was going to use the purple from that I'll get it and show you. It's not far. It's very likely I'm going to talk for 10 minutes about the knitting I did yesterday, which was about 10 minutes. It wasn't. It took longer than that. But anyway, I was looking around and I found my Twists and Turns yarn where I have 3 colors. This is one of the colors which I really like, and you can't really see, I don't think. It's very sparkly. There, you might be able to see it. It's very sparkly. So I thought, oh, this is, you know, that would be kind of a cool contrast. So I started my Sylvester. It's a mess now. I started my Sylvester with a provisional crochet cast on. That's what the teal is. And I knit about 2 rows. I knit enough that I was able to put the stitch markers in. And then I realized that I was supposed to use a smaller needle. Now, I did a swatch. I swatched with a 7, which is what the pattern calls for. Then I moved up to an 8 because I wasn't getting gauge. And with an 8, I'm still not getting gauge. And it's so odd because when I first started knitting, for years, I had to go down needle sizes because my knitting was so loose. But now, I've turned into a tight knitter, and now I have to go up. So the pattern calls for 7. This is an 8. I decided to just screw it. I'm going up to a 9. And that's what I did, except of course the first 3 rows of the dang pattern are supposed to be knit in the smaller needle, which is 3 needle sizes smaller on the pattern. The regular needle size is a 7. She says to go down to a 4 to do, you know, as your small needle size. So I unpicked the second row, and I'm getting ready to unpick the first row, and you know, I'm still working on it. And because, you know, I did 100 stitches of a crochet cast on and I want to keep it. But I think what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to replace this 9 for a 7 and do it with a 7 after I get the white off and start over again. And then that way I keep my crochet cast on. Anyway, that's where I was going. So I did knit some, I started, and then I realized, once again, it's like I am the least trainable person ever. Ever. So frustrating. But in the course of this, I realized that I really wasn't that crazy about the sparkly purple, and maybe it was wrong. So I did 1 row of the sparkly purple on my swatch just to see what I thought. And I didn't like it very much. So, I mean, 1 row is probably not fair. But I found a yarn in my stash. I have 2 skeins of it. It's but I think it's a little bit rustic. And I really don't want anything remotely rustic. I have noticed this winter that I have not worn several of my sweaters very often because there's just the slightest prickle factor, and this winter for some reason I have just wanted to cuddle up in soft sweaters. Oh, and I'm wearing my new bistro again because, you know, I don't have that many days to wear it, and I'm wearing it again. And it's soft and cozy, and there's no 100% zero prickle factor. So I wanted to avoid any prickle factor in my contrast color because this is what my sweater's going to look like on the inside. That contrast color is going to be so in contact with my skin on the inside of this sweater that I want to make sure that it is super comfortable to me and what I'm going to want to wear. So I'm back to square one. I'm going to unpick that, put on my size 7 needles. Maybe I'll, you know, get to the place where, you know, it's only, I think you start the contrast color within 3 rows. So I'm not going to get very far till I figure out the contrast color situation. But there's where I am. That's my dilemma. I had a really kind of eye-opening, well, I don't even know how to describe it, sad conversation last night with my parents. They're fine. But, you know, I said, I'm going to come, you know, if you need me to go shopping or anything. He says, oh, I think you should take your mother shopping because she needs a sweater. And I'm like, sitting there like, take my mother shopping? My mother needs a sweater and I'm going to take her shopping? I'm not taking my mother shopping for a sweater. So now I have another sweater I have to make. I'm not taking my mother shopping for a sweater. My mother's always chilly, and so, you know, and she lives in a climate controlled life. She hardly ever goes outside. She doesn't need like a heavy duty sweater for like a light spring jacket kind of a thing. She needs a good sweater for a woman who's always chilly inside. So I am going to be looking at some fingering cardigan. She wants a cardigan. Fingering. This is all my dad. My mother didn't say a word. Oh, I'll go shopping. I mean, she was happy to go shopping, but he says she needs a sweater besides black. She has heavy sweaters, but she needs a sweater. She has a light cotton cardigan, but it's black. So anyway, I was just sitting there saying, what kind of a daughter am I that my mother needs a sweater? My dad wants me to take her shopping. So I was thinking about that cardigan I have that's kind of a dusty light blue color, I think, that I made for myself when I was doing the Amy Herzog class on Craftsy. And that sweater doesn't fit me great anymore because I've gained 20 pounds over the course of COVID. And I think it's just the kind of sweater she would like. So I think I'm going to give my mother my sweater that I have, and then think about knitting her a different color sweater. So she could have some cardigans that aren't black. But I have that sweater. I only wore it once or twice this winter, not even, maybe once. And she would wear it every day and she would love it. So I think I'm going to give her that sweater and then look for a nice light cardigan pattern and look in my stash. You know, she wouldn't want anything wild. I might actually shop for it because she loves lavender. You know, this is a light blue, and she wears, you know, neutral pants, so it would go with lots of stuff. So anyway, but that was like, oh my God, I can't believe my dad is telling me I should take my mom shopping for a sweater. What kind of a daughter am I? Anyway, so I'm giving my mother my sweater, and I'm going to go look for a pattern. So I have a lot of, all of a sudden I have 3 sweaters I want to make. Well, 4. Because I bought mohair for the Hush or Love Note. But I don't want Mama's sweater to be too heavy or warm because it is just for sitting on the couch in a climate controlled. I mean, you know, it's just that she gets chilly. So anyway, that kind of threw me last night. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm wearing my lip stain. I am wearing Sweetheart. I put it on twice. And I have the lip gloss over top of it, because even though I did touch the mohair, it shouldn't be a problem. So there you go. That's what I'm wearing. Sweetheart. I'm tempted to go back and get some more colors because I only have the 2 colors. And the 2 colors I got are really closer than I realized on the ad. This one's a little darker and maybe a little orangier. But yeah, so I might like go get black. No, I'm not getting black, but you know, like, anyway, I need a mauve, don't you think? Mauve, we'll see. Anyway, so I did go shopping yesterday. Well, I went to the yarn shop, and that was nice, and it was a beautiful day. And but after my fiasco with my needle size and my changing my mind about the color and everything, I was not in the mood. So I started a book. I have a new book from the library that I had on hold. It came, and 7 people are waiting, and I thought, don't be rude and take the whole 2 weeks to read it, and you want something to do. But I put it down in the middle last night and went to bed. And I actually had an okay night's sleep. So I'm getting up earlier, so I went to bed a little. I mean, I did my Wordle, and then, you know, but within 10 minutes I was in bed after that, and that worked out good. I slept okay. I seem to be sleeping for about 4 hours, and then I wake up. And there's this concept of first sleep and second sleep that Dennis talks about, you know, back in the days of, you know, pre-electricity and pre-modern world. It was very common for people to have a first sleep and a second sleep, and they'd have a first sleep and then they'd get up and, you know, socialize for a couple of hours, and then they go back to bed. You know, especially I suspect like in the winter time when the, you know, the nights were longer and the days were shorter and you did things by daylight. But anyway, so Dennis thinks I'm one of these people that has a first sleep and a second sleep, and I think he might be right, which, you know, might mean that I you know, should honor that and get up and knit for a little while and then go back to sleep or whatever I'm going to do. I should think about that. It's very, I tend to stay in bed and just figure at least I'm resting. But we'll see. I actually fell asleep in my chair last night, which is Well, I often fall asleep in my chair for a little while, but I've always attributed it to the fact that I had just eaten my dinner and had a cocktail, and I was like, But neither of those things happened when I fell asleep in my chair yesterday. So maybe I just, take a little snooze in my chair. Could be. Anyway, so that's where I am today. It's a beautiful day. It's chillier today, so I get to wear my sweater again. I'm going to finish my book. I'm sure about that. And I'm hoping that I can come up with a happy decision about my alternate color, my contrast color for my Sylvester. But meanwhile, I have other things that I can do. I don't think I have a suitable yarn to start a sweater for my mother, but I got a yarn shop. And they were very nice. And if I don't go on Sunday, there's no people in there except the people that work there, so I don't have to worry about crowds. Anyway, so I'm gonna go. Please take good care of yourselves. Please, 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 please stay safe and stay sane.